All right, my friends, in this video, we're gonna talk about cross marketing. And another way to say that is networking. But when I say cross marketing, I'm talking about when you can build relationships and make deals with, whether it's formal or informal, with other service providers that are similar to your industry. So let's talk about it right now. So one great way to get more business in is by networking with the right people. This seriously can be huge for your business. So this is going to be huge for your business. This is an amazing way to market your brand and your company and your services to people out there. And why is that? Well, there's already companies out there in your local area that have already targeted your ideal clients. These are people that would be the most likely to hire you. There's already companies that are reaching out to that same group of individuals. So it's anybody interested in getting, birthday parties, services for their birthday parties, corporate events, all that kind of stuff. So you already have a group of people in different industries, different businesses that are reaching out to those people. So if you can connect with them, then you can potentially have access to their customers. So there's different things that you can do to negotiate that partnership. It can be informal, it can be formal, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the point is you want to reach out to different people that have businesses that are similar to yours. So I'll give you some examples. So if you're doing balloon twisting, and as of right now, if you don't offer any other services, for example, if you don't do face painting, if you don't do any sort of rentals, you don't do like the bouncy castles. So let's say that you're just doing one or two services. What you could do is go to somebody else that offers something different, but it's very similar. They're reaching out to the same clients. So if you do just balloon twisting, you could reach out to a face painter in your local area and you can say, hey, you can build a relationship with them, you can get to know them, and this needs to be something that's sincere and authentic. Nobody really likes someone coming to them and sucking up and just trying to work a deal so that they can get the better end of the deal. This needs to be a two-way relationship where you're throwing them work and they're throwing you work. Now, like I said before, this could be informal or formal. What do I mean by that? Well, if it's informal and there's not really any terms set, you can just say, hey, like if you have any extra parties, throw them my way. I'll throw you parties your way as well if somebody asks me for a face painter. Because you'll find out in time, if you're only doing balloon twisting and you don't offer face painting already, then people are going to ask you, hey, do you offer face painting? If not, who can I get? Who's somebody that you recommend? You can have that person that's your key person that you say, yes, this is the person that I recommend, and they can do the same for you. So there's that one option where you're not paying each other for it, there's no terms set, you're just throwing each other work. Or you guys can set up something more formal and get this in writing if you do that, but there could be a percentage basis where you say to that person like, hey, if you recommend me for any of your clients for balloon twisting service, I'll give you 10% of everything that I book through you, anything that you recommended to me. And that can be a great way. It is worth 10% or something in that general area to pay to that person. So a lot of times they might say, no, don't worry about it. Or yes, they'll do the 10%. Either way, even though you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra, it's gonna be worth it for you to do that. So you can set those terms with that person, and maybe you do the same thing for them. Maybe whenever you throw them work, they pay you 10%. So you could potentially be making extra money in your business this way by just building relationships with other service providers in your industry. So I gave you the example of a face painter, but really think through who are all the different businesses. And I highly recommend that you compile a list. Go through, search them on Google, think about all the people that have been at different parties you go to. And by the way, you're gonna meet those people in person, and that's probably the best place to make a connection with them and then to start building that relationship. But you could search them on Google and find out who they are, reach out to them. You definitely be proactive about it, but you can also meet them in person. Either way, just be genuine, be real, try to build a sincere and authentic relationship with them. This is not something where you're trying to take from them, because this is about a long-term relationship. If your business is going to be long-term and you want to think of it that way, don't try to crash and burn on relationships with this. Don't try to take from somebody and get business out of them and then just push them aside and then break that relationship. That's not going to set you up for success later. it's not going to be a good decision for you long term. So whoever you're working with, whoever you're building connections with, make sure it's, you're sincere with them and you really have their best interest in mind as well. And another note on this as well is make sure it's with the right people. I highly recommend that you get to know them first and then you strike up some sort of deal. So you can just call somebody up that you found on Google and say, hey, and just work out something where it's like, if you send me work, we'll do a 10% deal. That can work great, but you don't want to get in trouble if you're making deals with the wrong person. I highly recommend that you get to know them first a little bit, make sure that they're reputable, make sure they have integrity, make sure they're going to be an honest businesswoman or businessman, and that way it's not going to be going sour for you in the future. All right, so like I said, you can find these people on Google, or you can find them at different parties you go to, but go ahead and build a list there like I mentioned before. Build that list and then just write out all the different businesses, all the different entertainers, all the different party planners, all the different event coordinators. Maybe it's for weddings, maybe it's just strictly for birthday parties, all the decor people, people renting out different equipment for parties. You can get creative here, and there's a lot of different businesses out there. They're going to be reaching out to your same clients. So try to build relationships with them, get a list going there, and then you can start strategically building relationships with those people to network with them and to do this cross marketing. And I guarantee you, you guys are going to get way more business if you really focus on this strategy as you're marketing your brand. All right, so another option too, and this might sound kind of scary for you guys, but you can also go to other balloon twisters. I know, that's crazy. But here's what I want to tell you in this. There's always going to be times that balloon twisters, and this is going to happen for you as well, where they're going to have to turn down work. Because if they're getting more and more booked, which is a great thing, if they already have a party for a certain time and they only are one person, they don't have anybody with them on their team, they might have to turn down events. So if you build connections and relationships with other balloon twisters in your local area, there's often times where that person will say, I'm booked, and then the client is going to want to say, well, do you recommend anybody else that does that same service? Who else can I get to come to my party to make balloon animals? Well, they're going to want to provide that person with a great experience. They want to deliver great customer service, most likely. And if they do, they're going to want to recommend somebody. So maybe they won't for competitive reasons, but if you build a relationship with the right person, if it's someone that is reputable and honest and has integrity, they're going to want to deliver that good customer service to their clients. So if you build a relationship with them, then you could be that person. If they're booked up, they could say, yes, I'm thinking of Tom, the balloon twister over here. He's the guy that you should go to. I recommend him. So you might get that instant referral. Maybe you work out the 10% deal or whatever you want to, or it's just for free. And it could be vice versa. So you could do the same thing for them. So maybe you're linked up with some other balloon twister that you know is a good guy or girl, and it's going to go both ways. So if you're booked up, you can recommend them. If they're booked up, they can recommend you. So that's another thought there for you as well when we're talking about cross marketing. All right, so another thought here for you too is maybe you just want to have that one face painter as an example. Like that's your girl, that's your guy that you go to, or maybe you have just that one juggler, you have the one magician, that other person that does something that you don't do. It's probably good to have that one person that you know is good, because you also want to be able to recommend someone that is going to bring great value to the customer. You don't want to be recommending people that just does a poor job, that's just trying to make a quick buck, and they're really not trying to deliver the best customer experience for their customers. So it is good to have that one person, but think about having a second backup person. And the reason for that is if you have a face painter, for example, that's your key face painter lady that you always go to and recommend people to, if that person is booked, it's sometimes good to have a second person that's sort of a backup. And usually talk to that first person because they'll usually have their backup. So that's something else to think about as well, is you can have a backup person for the person that you recommend, because that's going to deliver great value to your customers. And that's another point here, guys, is if you have people you're recommending, it's not just so you can make an extra 10% off what they sell or whatever, but it's to deliver great value to your customers. That's the key thing here. That's the most important thing. And if you're really there to serve your customer And you can serve them by saying, hey, I'm booked at this time, but I really recommend this other balloon twister. I know this lady is great. She's going to be awesome for your party. That's going to be really valuable. And yes, they'll love that balloon twister, but they're going to think of you too, because they went to you first and they wanted you and you gave them what they needed. You served them, so they're going to see you as someone that provided great value as a service provider. So that's really key as well. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. Really, the main thing is build relationships with other service providers that deliver similar services to your ideal clients. That's the key. So build a list of them, start to engage with them, find out who's the ones that you trust and don't trust, and start to do deals with them, because that's really going to help you guys get more money in the door. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the group as well how this is working for your business. Do you already have key people that you recommend and that recommend you? How can you go about doing this? Maybe you have some different ideas as well, or some questions. So let us know in the group. We'd love to help you out further as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, and good luck out there as you're cross-marketing your business.